Want to know a scary truth? Procrastination doesn't feel dangerous until you realize it's quietly stealing years of your life. Think about it. I'll do it later turns into an afternoon gone and a week slips by. Before you know it, a year passes and that book you wanted to write, that workout routine you promised yourself, that side hustle idea you kept in your notes app, is still sitting there untouched. Here's the good news. You don't need to magically become a productivity machine to fix this. It's called the 2-minute rule. And once you learn how it works, you'll never look at procrastination the same way again. Let's clear something up first. Procrastination isn't you being lazy. It's your brain trying to protect you. Scientists have found that when you think about starting a hard or uncomfortable task, the pain centers of your brain light up. Literally, your brain treats it like a threat. But here's the twist. Studies also show that once you actually start, that pain signal fades almost instantly. So, procrastination isn't really about avoiding work. It's about avoiding the feeling of starting. Think about when you need to send an awkward email. You stare at the blank screen, your chest feels tight, and suddenly scrolling TikTok feels like medicine. But the second you type the first sentence, the pressure starts to drop. That's the real problem we need to solve. How do we make starting less scary? Try applying the 2-minute rule. The rule is simple. If something takes less than 2 minutes, do it immediately. For bigger tasks, commit to just the first 2 minutes. The rule became popular after James Clear wrote about it in Atomic Habits. He was inspired by B.J. Fogg, a Stanford researcher who studied how tiny habits create massive change. Here's the power behind it. When you shrink a task down to just 2 minutes, it tricks your brain into starting. And starting is the hardest part. Imagine telling yourself, instead of "I need to read 30 pages tonight," you say "I'll read 1 page. Instead of "I need to go for a 5-mile run," you say "I'll put on my running shoes. Instead of "I need to clean the kitchen," you say "I'll wash 1 plate. 9 times out of 10, you'll keep going. But even if you don't, you still won because you started. Let's break down why this tiny trick works so well. Momentum beats motivation. Motivation is unreliable. You don't wake up every day feeling like a productivity superhero. But momentum? That's physics. Once you're moving, it's easier to keep moving. The 2-minute rule gives you that little push down the hill. The biggest barrier to action is friction. The difference between thinking, "I should do this," and "I will do this." By making the entry point ridiculously small, the 2-minute rule removes that friction. It's like telling yourself, "I'll just dip my toes in the pool." Next thing you know, you're swimming laps. Let's make this practical. Here are some everyday situations where the 2-minute rule works like magic. Emails. Instead of "I'll clear my inbox," say to yourself, "I'll reply to 1 email." The chances are you'll knock out 5 in the process. Cleaning. Instead of "I'll clean the house," say, "I'll pick up 1 sock." 2 minutes later, you're already vacuuming. Exercise. Instead of "I'll go to the gym for an hour," say, "I'll just put on my workout clothes." This subconsciously increases your chances of going. Work projects. Instead of "I'll finish the report," say, "I'll open the document and write 1 sentence." These tiny commitments look harmless, which is why your brain doesn't fight them, but they often snowball into finishing the whole task. Now, I know what you're thinking, but what if I actually stop after 2 minutes? Won't I just stay stuck? That's a fair point. Let's talk about it. James Clear calls this casting a vote for the type of person you want to become. Each time you do 2 minutes, you're casting a vote for becoming disciplined, consistent, and reliable. And here's the kicker. Momentum usually takes care of the rest. Remember Newton's law? An object in motion stays in motion. Well, if you're in motion, you'll stay in motion. So no, the 2-minute rule isn't about tricking yourself into doing 2 minutes. It's about lowering the wall so you can step onto the field. Here's the secret. Even if you stop after 2 minutes, you've still won. You're actively building the identity of someone who takes action. You're telling your brain, "I don't avoid things, I start things." And that identity shift is way more powerful than forcing yourself to grind through hours of work. Let's tie this all together with a quick story. A friend of mine wanted to get into running. Every January, he'd say, "This is my year." He'd buy new shoes, sign up for a gym, even download an app. And by February, the shoes were collecting dust. So let's wrap this up. Procrastination isn't laziness. It's your brain trying to protect you from the discomfort of starting. The trick isn't to beat procrastination with willpower. It's to lower the bar so much that starting feels effortless. That's what the 2-minute rule does. Whether it's emails, workouts, cleaning, or starting that big dream project, it all begins with a tiny action. 2 minutes. That's it. And the beautiful thing, once you start, you usually don't stop. Remember this line: you don't need motivation. You just need 2 minutes.